What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eriny if you don't know that. Before we start this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, give this video a like, and share it with your friends. CNN showed a documentary called 3 Identical Twins. Their guest, Robert Shafran, said that in 1980, when he was 19, on his first day of school, where he didn't know anybody, people treated him like they know him. Some saying, "Welcome back, how was vacation?" People hugged him like they knew him enough. So Robert started to have suspicions and doubted himself. He thought, did I lose my memory or what? Why are people treating me like they know me? They're treating me like they're my friends. Until someone greeted him, "Welcome back, Eddie." "What did you say?" "My name is Robert. My name is not Eddie." So the stranger answered him, "You're still making these silly jokes, Eddie?" So Robert told him, "I'm serious. Who is this Eddie?" So they called Eddie on the phone and Robert spoke to him. Robert said, "I found someone with my voice and my way of speaking." So Robert asked Eddie, "Were you adopted?" And Eddie answered, "Yes." Robert asked him about his date of birth, and it was the same date as Robert's. And here they realized that they were twins and they were separated after birth. And each went to live with a different family in a different state. And they met by coincidence after 20 years of their separation. And they hugged each other. Newspapers write about them. Their photos are on the front pages. The story of the twin brothers that found each other. Until this part of this video, this is a normal story that you might see in movies. But by another coincidence, a girl reading the New York Times newspaper sees the photo of these twins and starts running towards her mother. She's still running. And tells her, "Isn't that David? These two twins look exactly like him." And it turns out that David is their third brother. Oh, brother. People magazine, The Times, and the New York Times wrote about them, and popularity is surrounding them from every corner. The three brothers take advantage of that and open a restaurant in New York, and they called it the Triplets. A very basic, normal quality of food, but people actually go there to take photos with the triplets. A lot of people started approaching the place until the restaurant started booking tables policy. I hope that's what you call it. If it's not, it's okay. You understand what I mean. And in 1 year, the restaurant made profits of $1 million. Plus, they were the subject of a lot of scientific studies. The spread of the story of the triplets, not the spread that you put on bread, but the other type of spread. And people's celebration for them, because the idea of twins in general, to see two people that look exactly the same, with the same qualities and the same body language, is very interesting and attractive. Because it brought the humankind's attention throughout the years. Because twinning as a phenomenon is something worth contemplating. A process of reproduction to the same person. Maybe it's more like natural cloning. This phenomenon, before science could explain the reasons behind it, was confusing to ancient cultures. To other cultures, it was something dangerous, scary, and pessimistic. At some point, they believed that the devil had an interference with the intimate relationship between two people, or that it happened because of the God's wrath on the mother. Because people back then were used to the birth of only one child at a time. If you hadn't noticed that, but human babies are born without full growth, but they can't stay more than 9 months in the uterus of the mother. Because if the skull and the body grew more than that, they won't be able to get out or even be born. But after they're born, they keep counting on their mothers for years and years. Babies take their mother's milk, time, and money. For humans, the responsibility of taking care of one child is a very tiring process. How tiring do you think it's gonna be if it's 2 or 3 children? Sometimes it was even 8. 8 children who are twins. What if I told you that the number reached 11 children who are twins? Like, are we turning into rabbits when we're not noticing? So it's a very difficult and tiring process. I need to calm down because I'm starting to get stressed from all the numbers of the twins right now. Okay, so for early humans, and by early I mean ancient, like real ancient humans, this process was even more and more difficult. Why? Because of hunting and migration. So just imagine with me that you have 3 twins, okay, that you need to watch over. And at the same time, you need to gather food, hunt animals, and constantly move. I told you, it's an incredibly difficult task. So, it must be a curse from the gods. At least, that's what early humans thought. But in other cultures, this was seen as a good thing. They thought that it was proof of how manly the husband is. Only if they knew what I'm about to say. But most cultures agreed that this phenomenon is interesting enough to put explanations to. For example, Greeks and ancient Egyptians saw that twins represent the dual nature of the universe. The good and the bad, the day and the night. So you can find in Greek mythologies Apollo, the god of the sun, and his twin Artemis or Artemis, the goddess of the moon. Ancient Egyptians had Gib, the god of the earth, and his twin Nut, the goddess of the sky. They thought that twins have opposite qualities, and this idea kept going till the Middle Ages. So some of the Aboriginal people of America thought that twins were one person, but got separated into two bodies. And they thought that age and power was separated between them. So to fix what they thought was a problem, they used to kill one of the twins so that the other would live longer and be stronger. Other cultures forbidded twin girls from cooking. What is the point of that? They'll answer you by saying, we don't know. Maybe the talent of cooking was separated between them and neither of them can cook. Why not just let them try to cook first, then we can judge their cooking? Nope, not allowed. The idea of the good twin and the bad twin still exists till today. People are still wondering, is this just a myth or does it actually have scientific basis? So away from all the mythology, let's ask ourselves a question. How do twins happen? No. Stop thinking like that. Stop thinking like that. That is disgusting, man. I am not talking about pregnancy in general, you perv. I'm talking about twins. Let's talk biology, kids. There are two types of twins. First type is fraternal twins. And that happens when two sperms fertilize two different eggs during the same pregnancy. Fraternal twins can be of the same or of different sexes. They share half of their genes just like any other siblings, but we call them twins because they are born together, just like actual twins. But how can two eggs get fertilized while we know that ovulation happens only once a month? The answer is that this is a state called hyperovulation, and it causes the releasing of 2 or 3 or more eggs at the same time. And that proves that the rumor of the twins happening because of how manly the husband is completely false. Men, step aside, please. Twins happen because of women. Hyperovulation happens because of a gene called the twin gene, or by the injection of stimulating hormones. But sometimes unfamiliar and unusual cases are the result of fraternal twins. Like two people being fraternal twins, but one is older than the other. Or another unfamiliar case, like what happened in New Jersey in 2015, when a father took a DNA test from his twin children to find out whether they're both his or not. And it turned out that only one of his twins is his and the other one is not. What? My head is spinning. How can two twins that were born from the same woman have different fathers? However, after that DNA test, the wife admitted that she was with another man after a few days of being with the father. Scientists explain this by saying that hyperovulation can happen more than one time in 1 month, and that there could be a few days period between the secretion of the two eggs. So both eggs can be fertilized in different periods of time. And the result of that are twins, but one can be older than the other by a few days, or twins from different fathers, which we call superfecundation. Fraternal twins with different fathers. Second type of twins are identical twins, which result when a sperm fertilizes an egg to make a zygote. Then the zygote undergoes cell division to form a ball of cells, just like any other egg, until they reach about 100 cells, to form something called early blastocyst. And suddenly, with no reason at all, the early blastocyst divides and separates into 2 cells, which we call late blastocyst. And every blastocyst starts creating an individual baby. But the 2 fetuses are identical. Why? Because they came from the same egg, the same cell, and they have the same DNA. So they are literally a copy of each other. But sometimes, complete separation does not happen to both blastocysts. They stay attached to each other, and they grow with that form to create conjoined twins. They're identical twins, but they are physically attached. Till now, there is nothing scientifically explaining why does the blastocyst splits. It even has nothing to do with the genes. Identical twins don't just look alike, but sometimes they even make the same decisions, even if they were separated after birth, only to meet each other after 20 or 30 years of separation. And in some identical twins cases, the twins might be born with different weights and they might not look alike. As a result of the change in the amount of food that was delivered to them by the placenta. We also notice that these changes continue to appear after birth and after they grow. Even though when you think about it, both of the twins have the same DNA. Their growth should be the same because they have the same cells and the same nerve connections. They should have the same personalities, the same intelligence and comprehension. Allah, then why do we see identical twins with different personalities? I'll tell you, yes, genetics have a huge role in creating us. But there are many factors that change our genetic expressions. Factors like the surrounding environment. The surrounding environment can change the shape of the brain itself. German scientist Jared Kimberman wanted to prove that life experience can change the way the human brain develops and change the personality. So he made an experiment when he brought two twin rats and introduced them to different life experiences. And he noticed that the experiences and the way the rats responded to it stimulates the growth of new nerve cells. And we call that process neurogenesis, that occurs in a place in the brain called hippocampus that plays a critical role in learning and storing memories. The neurological changes makes differences in personalities. When Kimperman noticed what was happening, he asked himself, to what extent does our personal experience affect the differences in our personalities? So he brought a lot of twin mice and put them in one cage. But the cage was full of tubes, games, and puzzles to make the mice interact with him. Kemperman measured the movement of each mouse using a radio wave device to measure the exploratory behavior of each mouse. And he injected each mouse with a chemical compound to distinguish dividing cells and new nerve connections formed in the hippocampus during the mouse interaction with the environment. And during the 3 months of the experiment, he discovered the emergence of individuality in genetically identical mice. Even though the mice lived in the same cage, but each of them interacted differently with the cage. Like a mouse that was exploring the entire cage and another mouse that was barely taking a few steps forward. These explorer mice had a greater production of neurons or nerve cells. So Kimberman concluded that although twins have the same genes, they each interact with the environment in a different way. And on the long run, this changes their overall behavioral pattern because the changes that occur in the nerve cells allow them to develop different personalities. Just like twins were an exciting phenomenon to the ancient, they were also an interest to scientists because through their studies, we can say that the biggest reason for individual differences is the genetic factor, because the thing that was hindering researchers the most and affecting the accuracy of the results was the genetic differences. So when you have identical twins with the same genes, that was helping scientists to rule out the genetic factor and focus on other factors for accurate results. So Mark and Scott Kelly, two twin astronauts that NASA was using them to do tests and researches on the impact of long space flights on the human body. Scott would go live a year in space and leave Mark with us on our humble Earth. And when Scott returns, we start to examine the differences. Twins like Chung and Ng Bunker were conjoined twins. They were two of the 19th century's most studied human beings. When they were born, they weren't like any other twins. The doctors that were examining them noticed that these two twins can feel each other. I mean, like, they feel each other a little bit too much. For example, if you tickled one, the other would laugh. And if one ate something that is not tasty, the other would taste it too. And being in this condition did not prevent them from living a happy life. On the contrary, they refused any surgery to separate them. They grew up and married two sisters, and they had 21 children. One of them had 10 and the other had 11. It feels more like they were a baby factory, but over time, their bodies began to age in different rates. And they feared that one of them would die before the other, and that the other would remain walking with his brother's body. And unfortunately, what they feared happened. And one day when one of their children went to wake them up, he found that Chung was dead. And at that moment, Eung knew that he was also going to die. And after only 2 hours, he did die. Despite all the genetic and statistical differences between twins, there are still individual differences and unique personalities to each twin. And the search for exclusivity and self-affirmation, maybe the thing that really bothers twins is the comparison between them all the time. And the stupid questions like, if I hurt you, will your twin feel anything? Do you guys do everything together or what? Or do you split tasks, like one of you watching my previous videos, one of you waiting for my next videos? No! They're both watching all of my videos. But your uniqueness is that you are both subscribed to my channel. So if you have a story about twins, please go tell me in the comments below. If you are a twin, what do you feel? And what are the questions that bother you? And did you guys ever love the same person? I'm just asking. No, just okay. I'll see you next time. Bye.